Please welcome to the stage Sarah Bond, president of Xbox at Microsoft, for a conversation with Bloomberg's Dina Bass.
Oh my word, that music is just absolutely awful. Like a couple of days ago, 4 developers under Bethesda were all let go of because of really bad business decisions, ladies and gentlemen. And who is the lamb they send out to the slaughter, Iron Maiden style? And now Sarah Bond. Yeah, she's the person they're sending out instead of Matt Backside.
No, it's a bum.
Aaron Greenberg. And most absurd of all, Phil Spencer to actually sit there instead of Miss Bond. But I'll get to that point in a minute. But wow, man. I thought this Xbox Fallout was just going to be a couple of videos and that's it. But everybody is roasting those 4 goons from here to hell on high water. Do they deserve it? Yes. Is there a comeback? No. Is my gaming PC ever going to be fixed? That's never going to happen either. But that's a whole story for a whole other day.
Stop. Your timing is impeccably atrocious.
I could take these off and then put them back on again, eh? Or is that going to be really difficult? What do you think? I don't know if that's going to be worse or better.
Targeted the wrong man.
In Advent Children, she has larger eyes and a rounder face, with a remake backlash resulting in some Japanese players to complain that she is long-faced with angular features, going as far to claim that she now looks like a Western man.
White chicks.
Dubbing some gay art house erotica.
This has to be a mistake! You need a doctor or something! They need help!
Don't worry. There's better for you. And it's right here. Come here. No, I wanted you for so long.
Something's here.
Who is this hero?
Could this really be it?
On Kung Fu Hot Dog. He's the game here to motorboat fun bags and kick ass. And he's all out of titties.
It's a f***ing video game.
Bloomberg Live did a video yesterday, I believe. Look at this. 4,500 dislikes compared to 918 upvotes. Now, I've got to show you this very quickly from Learning the Law. Maybe it's time to put people in position of power who actually understand video games, Microsoft. There's a new president at Xbox, and she's a black woman, ladies and gents. Yeah, and that's the funny thing. I did a video a few weeks ago where Sarah Bond actually worked her way into Microsoft as opposed to working through it like a mad banshee. So she's definitely got tech savvy behind her, and she obviously knew a good thing when Xbox made its appearance on the horizon back in the early noughts. But that doesn't qualify her to be an expert at video games. I mean, again, when she's been asked in numerous interviews, how did you get into video games? What did you play? And she's like, well, it was just me and my daddy. We used to play these gentle, kind, sweethearted games. Nothing like Call of Duty or The Last of Us. I know that's not an Xbox title. Gears of War, Halo. She's never sat down, maybe had some free time in her office at Microsoft and kicked back and say, hey, Uncle Phil, do you mind if I play Halo, the first game, for a few hours, kill some time while I get paid for it? Of course, yeah. No problem at all, Sarah. Do what you please. You're our first black woman president of Xbox right here. So the reason why I say this, her interview with Dina Bass from Bloomberg. Bloomberg, by the way, very good outlet. I listen to some of their radio podcast shows sometimes when I'm just winding down for the night. But yeah, have a listen to this, because I tell you, there's one section of this interview you just have to hear, which, I mean, oh, wow. Talk about sending out a lamb to the slaughter.
How to reverse that. What's causing the issue, and Raising kind of the alarm that the video game industry is just not growing, and there's a real need to figure out how to reverse that.
Well, Miss Bass, I can actually give you a very simple answer. Stop bringing in DEI, ESG, make video game females attractive again, give us good video games that we can all lose ourselves into, get rid of live services because nobody likes them, and just give us an actual physical disc that we can actually own. You get paid, everybody's happy at the gaming development companies, and you make it a sequel, or you make another sequel 2 years later.
What's causing the issue, and how does Xbox turn it around?
Yeah, the last year or so in video games, largely the industry's been flat. And even in 2023, we saw just some tremendous releases. The last year or so.
Yeah, the thing is, Dina, every time you ask me a question, I'm going to say, and why does Sarah Bond always wear something green to represent Xbox? You can be your own woman, Sarah, and just wear what you want. Just relax, just chill out. Oh my God. I was thinking about it this morning, actually, and I believe that Sarah will get all the media training she needs to at Microsoft. I'm sure they do those sessions there. But when it prepares you for the real thing, well, the real thing, ladies and gentlemen, is a bag of nerves, sweating profusely, just looking dejected and jaded. I mean, this is what I mean by sending out a lamb to the slaughter. Phil Spencer should have been sat there, not Sarah Bond. Phil apparently knows all about games. He's on Game Pass. You can play games with Phil online. So this, I find, it's just, people are roasting Sarah Bond, and I've certainly got my criticisms of her. I mean, look at that. You can even see on the right-hand part of her lips there, like the lipstick's already drying off. I mean, how many times do you think Sarah Bond was pacing back and forth in the green room before she came out on stage? I'm going to tell you from personal experience, she's probably done it quite a few times.
Tremendously groundbreaking games, but still the growth didn't follow all of that. And a lot of that's related to our need to bring new players in, make gaming more accessible, but all of that has been happening at the same time that the cost associated with making these beautiful AAA blockbuster games is going up, and the time it takes.
You know what I say, folks? You don't have to. I think where everything's just shot them in the foot is that they started to talk about we're going to have to increase video games now because the technology is getting so much more better. So Forspoken, you spent $70 on that piece of shit, and that was PlayStation 2 quality. Right, thanks, Sony. But no, I think they could have stayed the same. Even Cliff Bleszinski said back in the early days of Gears of War that if it was up to him, he would charge every AAA game that was released under his mantle for $20.
You're watching our whole summer drought conversation, but you brought up an interesting point that you said all games, even now, brand new, should be $20. So Gears of War will be.
Well, there
Talk to Microsoft about that,
there's
right?
more people involved in this decision, but if it were up to me, games would be $20. The thing is $50 is still a lot of money for most people, right?
Sure.
And you get these people who are like, okay, games are costing more to make, yeah, but we need to sell more copies. We need to make them more accessible.
Sure.
Raising the prices, it's only going to shoot us in the foot. We need to get the price down to a $20 price point, just like DVD movies.
Because I know what he means. Like, the more you sell, the more money you'll make back if you're selling at such a low price, which to me makes absolute sense.
But the problem I think Microsoft would say is that, with something like 360, it's going to be so expensive on the front end that they're the hardcore people, so they're willing to pay $70 for a game because you're not going to a super mainstream audience.
They are to a point, but at some point, $20, yuppie food stamps, right? You go to an ATM, there's a psychological barrier there.
Again, what's destroyed video gaming? It's the West. Because back in the day, when video gaming was considered a kid's hobby, even though it was made by adults, once it started getting corporatized, once Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was released, I think around that point, maybe even slightly before that, when everybody like Andrew Wilson, the Bobby Kotick, and I'll talk about him in a minute as well, all started crawling out of the woodwork. They knew there was money to be made, and frankly, you can't actually blame them for that. You know, compared to how Japanese CEOs run their gaming divisions, you know, you don't get that kind of moral compass here in the West. It's all about greed, lining your pocket, and I will tell you something about Bobby Kotick's payout in a minute, which was an absolute astonishing fact I could not believe.
I am not a destroyer of companies. I am a liberator of them.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Takes to make them is going up. And so much of our focus as Xbox is about how we do things to help the industry all up, while also ensuring that our brand, you know, everything.
That's kind of like a very facetious comment there from Ms. Bond, because the way she's worded it is like, well, you know, Xbox, we're setting the standards here for the rest of the gaming industry out there when Sony was out there before them. So I'm not sure why she's saying that, because I'm guessing now Nintendo and Sony are sitting down thinking, holy shit, they've just done this, like what's going to happen to us? The thing is, there's a studio called Moonrise Studio and Moon Studios that Xbox wanted to bring under their umbrella. They said no, and they posted a tweet saying, well, this is the reason why you don't accept the golden handshake of any massive company out there, whether it's Sony or somebody else. Just stay independent, because you've actually got a better chance of surviving whatever crazy fallout is actually going to happen.
Everything that we do
we
do
this
moment of transition.
Transitioning.
Related
oh my
to some
God.
of the trends you're identifying, you know, earlier this week, Xbox announced the shuttering of 4 game studios. I know you're not the studio's chief, but how should gamers understand
But she was privy to the news.
Microsoft's commitment to developing innovative exclusive games?
Yeah, you know, it's always extraordinarily hard when you have to make decisions like that. You know, I'll go back to what I was saying about the industry. And when we looked at those fundamental trends, we feel a deep responsibility to ensure that the games we make, the devices we build, the services that we offer are there through moments, even when the industry isn't growing and when you're through a time of transition.
Yeah, because in lockdown, everybody, including myself, were at home playing video games, spending more money on video games. That obviously meant that companies like Microsoft were hiring more people to be in development. And of course, nobody saw it coming when they acquired Activision Blizzard for $70 billion. I should have seen this as well. Like, once they come in, you're going to have to get rid of people in your existing Microsoft office, because what's going to become of them? It's such a clumsy transition. Again, I wish the FTC had actually stepped in with a bigger foot than Miss Lena Khan, the lawyer they hired to represent them. And maybe there might have been a different outcome. I'm not being funny, folks, but if that big foot had slammed down really, really hard, Tango Gameworks, Arcane Austin, Alpha Dog Games, Roundhouse Studios, they might have all been here today, folks.
And the news we announced earlier this week is an outcome of that. And our commitment to make sure that the business is healthy for the long term. But
again, I've got to remind you, Miss Sarah Bond, Microsoft is a $3 trillion company. Yes, you borrowed $70 billion from them to buy Activision Blizzard, but still, you got the money.
But that said, our commitment to having our own studios and working with
and destroying
partners
lives,
to have games large and small.
Yeah.
You know, we're a platform where you can play GTA, but you can also play
Which
Power
you don't.
World, where you can play Call of Duty, and you can also play Pentiment. That doesn't change. And frankly, our commitment to Bethesda and the role that it plays is part of Xbox and everything we do. It's actually been pretty fantastic. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to check it out. The Fallout TV show was on Amazon, and it's been...
What's the Fallout TV show got to do with this question that Dina Bass has asked? It's such a misfired answer. It's so weird.
Great to see people fall in love with that universe, but also what it's done for the games themselves and people going back and exploring everything that's inside of that. There's some other...
But that's not necessarily true because, yes, it did cause that spike for people to revisit the Fallout games, but people were already doing that. I mean, if there was a Call of Duty TV series on Amazon, all of a sudden now people are going back and playing the OG old games. No, they're always there on your shelf. If you've got them, you'll always go back and replay them, like I do.
Great things that are coming from our studios later this year. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I was a big indie fan growing up.
What, that Indiana Jones game for the modern audience?
Looks like you were too. So you should check that out. But really right now for us and our teams, our focus is on the people impacted and doing everything that we can do to help them through this hard transition.
I think one of the things that was most upsetting both to Xbox gamers and to employees is that, one of the shuttered studios in particular just created a hit game, did really well on Game Pass in terms of engagement, and won a ton of awards. Shouldn't succeeding in that way ensure the future of a studio?
One of the things I really love about the games industry is it's a creative art form.
Yeah, Dina Bass is talking about Hi-Fi Rush, okay? Tango Gameworks, the same company that actually has more trophies and awards on their shelf than you and I can ever imagine. Yet the same Tango Gameworks, whose Hi-Fi Rush game from last year was nominated for many awards, including a BAFTA, which, by the way, is a massive deal. Trust me, it is. Would it have made a difference? No, because Hi-Fi Rush is not Call of Duty, it's not Forza Horizon, it's not Halo, it's not those big, hard-hitting titles that I've just mentioned, including Gears of War. And by the way, I'm willing to bet now that the Coalition, who are releasing Gears 6, whenever that will be, I bet you if that game does not perform well, they're also on the chopping block. I know the popular opinion is, well, it's $1 billion franchise, they're not going to lose their job security. Well, listen, if 4 studios can get axed this week under the guise of Microsoft's, anything can go, baby, anything at all.
And it means that the situation and what success is for each game and studio is also really unique. Like there's no one size fits all to it for us.
So despite the fact that Aaron Greenberg said, oh my God, Hi-Fi Rush is fantastic, it's a brilliant game, it's just what Xbox needed. And then at the same time, or rather like a year later, Phil Spencer went to Japan to Tango Gameworks. Microsoft, Xbox wanted its foothold into Japan, but it didn't have that representation. And Tango Gameworks came along, answered their prayers. They were making a sequel to Hi-Fi Rush. And then this is how they get repaid. Phil Spencer turns up. I like what you guys are doing. It's fantastic. At the end of the day, folks, when you shake the hand with the devil, yeah, he's going to give you bad news.
To that as well. Thank you again, Phil.
Thank you, Lisa. Have a good show.
Thank you.
So on that one, ladies and gentlemen, I need to talk very quickly about another news story, another insufferable merchant of death, and that is...
Oh! Ow! Have you ever seen such cruelty? Oh! Oh! Ow!
Miss Alyssa McConaughey from that Scottish clan called the McCunties, making more trouble online, this time for a gentleman called Smash JT, who is also on YouTube. He's a pretty funny guy, and I've seen his channel a few times, but he was talking about this week how Miss McConaughey DM'd his wife on Facebook, accusing the husband, obviously Smash JT, of fooling around behind her back and harassing a specific female. Of course, now this kind of got all out of control. People are actually calling for the firing and the shutting down of Kotaku. Now, I said in the video a long time ago, I think December the 7th is when they'll finally shut down. I'm still sticking with that for now, and nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change my love for you. Yeah, I'm not going to get all Glenn Medeiros on you right now, but seriously, This woman right here is completely unhinged. Reply guys, posting my nudes on every Kotaku story. Totally normal behavior. What, like a supposed Pulitzer Prize wannabe winning journalist who likes to bear her so-called tatas in a fur coat? Yeah, that's a very nice, classy, bold move, Miss Mercante. I can quite clearly see nobody is even remotely thinking of sleeping with you, and if they have to, they'll have to pay you, and then at the end of the next morning, they'll just probably take the money back and sneak out through the back door, rather than trying to sneak up your back door again, if you get my drift. But yeah, she's been posting very bizarre replies on her Twitter profile. It's like mental health gone wrong, folks. It really is. And I can't say I'm looking forward to the actual fallout that this is going to breed. But in fact, this week as well, 4 journalists from Kotaku were fired as well. So it makes you wonder, they're not surviving very long on that threshold. They're one of the very few companies left online that are going to get the old Colombian necktie. And I can't wait. Now, funny enough, as I'm actually talking about Miss Mercante, I have to bring to you Colt Eastwood, one of my favorite content creators online. I'm a big supporter of his channel. Is everything that Colt says or does, does it land on the mark? Not always, no, but he's a fun guy. And yeah, this is from 2022. And of course, as an Xbox influencer, he was invited out with other influencers to meet Team Xbox, and this fat fuck right next to him here, of course, is Aaron Greenberg. And you're probably thinking, like, what is the point of this? Because I think personally why this was all done is because it was Xbox saving grace, showing face. It's like, hey, you know, we're still here, we're still gonna make video games for you guys, but you know, because you love us so much, we're inviting you out for a few days. You can have a corporate breakfast on our Diamond Platinum credit cards, and you don't tell anybody else what you've seen or heard here. And look, if this was like in the, say, 2008, 2012, around that time period, when times were much more normal, folks, and this all happened, it's a bigger deal. I know guys who have dedicated Gears of War YouTube channels who were invited out to play the games in London and in Canada, I believe, and other parts of the world. It's fantastic. But because of what's happening now with Xbox, how they're defiling their image in front of our very eyes, and how the future of video gaming, ladies and gentlemen, is really uncertain, my prediction, well, it's only going to go one way, and I'll tell you what way that is, folks. Giving the consumer what they want. It's going to be indie games. It's going to be games from South Korea and Japan that aren't preaching down to us. You know where I'm going with this, folks, because Western video gaming is absolute dog doo-doo. Nobody cares about it. Again, folks, what is missing from gaming? Actually owning your own physical disc. We don't want live service trash. It's not needed. It's not legacy defining. So get rid of that, please. Nobody absolutely cares about that. But I mentioned before in this video about Bobby Kotick. That gentleman, and that's a very light use of the term of a word for him, was paid out $375 million. Now, no, legally and other things aside, he probably earned that because of his time with Activision Blizzard. But that same amount of money could have kept Tango Gameworks, Roundhouse Studios, Alpha Dog Games, and Arcane Austin sustainable for 17 more years. 17. Can you believe that? But instead, Bobby Kotick, with no moral compass whatsoever, and allegations thrown at him from left, right, and center, and never proven because they're all allegations, can just line his big fat pockets, go and spend it on blowing hookers, and nobody else will give a damn when his time comes. So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video today, leave a like below, smash that like and subscribe button, and if I were you and if you were me, you should probably come and check me out this weekend because I might be dropping something, and no, it's not my jeans.
Rolling down to Dallas, my wheels provide my palace, off to New Orleans or who knows where, places new and ladies too. I'm BJ McKay and this is my best friend Dan.